Hi, everybody. It is Thursday, January 7th. I kind of want to do a short video of just kind of an update of what I see going on here. Um, I guess the best way to describe what's going on is it's this dragnet that the good guys have been sort of setting up for quite some time, and and they're basically trying to expose more and more. So I think what's catching us off guard. I mean, we all know that's their plan. They've got this. There's this these two sides sort of fighting it out. Basically, people that are trying to free us as the good guys type of thing versus this really old corrupt system that has everybody enslaved. Okay, and it's turned out to be a lot bigger than I think a lot of people expected, and including the good guys. I think they, I mean, they've been fighting this for quite some time, even before Mr. T got into power. So that he's just more of like a representation of us, you know. And as far as who he's representing, it's not just United States. He's basically fighting for the world to free the world of this. I mean, one of the bigger headquarters for this evil empire, sort of, is the United States. Yes, they've been set up here for a long time. They're set up all over the place. Basically, any position of power they've usurped. They've basically taken over, and they keep this control system going to great lengths, and for a very good reason. I'm going to explain why. Anyway, so as far as this latest thing is, it keeps playing out that in order to catch someone at something, you can't just accuse them going, okay, well, let me put it this way. I'll just kind of use an example of if someone was going to burglarize your house. Even if you overheard them go, yeah, I'm going to break into that house down the street. Okay, you can't go to the police and go, hey, I heard him planning something. What you have to do is you have to catch them in the act. So that's kind of what they've been doing. They know that the election system was completely rigged, so they had to prove it. So they had to let them do it to prove it. As far as how corrupt the corruption runs all the way up into Congress, they have to let that play out to show us. Everything they do is for a plan. And yes, Mr. T is going to get back in office. Believe me, it's for me. I already know that. It's about how it's going to happen. I'm like you guys. I'm a participant as far as watching how it unfold. I get snippets. I do. Like I said, I get telepathic messages all the time, and I get things. But to me, I guess maybe because I'm not very good at this still. I'm not as channeled that way. But I get it, and every once in a while it's like, yeah, I kind of thought that was going to happen. I tell some people what I suspect is going to happen. I don't usually make a public announcement, but I know, for instance, arrests. I can tell you that publicly. There's going to do with a lot of arrests being exposed, and they're all done behind the scenes right now, as a matter of fact. And we're going to be privy to what's been happening fairly soon. And so yeah, it's like like I was going back to that example. Just because you hear someone planning to break into your house, you can't arrest them yet. You can't. There's no proof of that. It's just someone's word. But so what you do is you let it play out. Then that's what he's been doing. He's just let it play out, and then once you catch the guy break into your house because you knew it was coming, then you go, okay, you get all the evidence on him. Well, what has been happening with, let's say, the good guys is they've been just gathering more information all the time. Like I said, this is a giant dragnet, and they're gathering information and who's doing what, why, how, all that stuff. And yeah, it's going to be used as evidence. So there's overwhelming evidence of what's been going on, but the the problem with our media system is the bad guys own the media. That's the problem. There's a few small good medias out there, but we're just basically the only people that really telling the truth are off the grid, almost like basically just people doing videos of what's going on behind the scene. That's the only place you're going to find the truth. The truth is not going to be out there. It's funny because I talked to people. I said, "Oh, did you know that there's arrests going on, or something, or there's military operations?" And everybody's like, "Well, I don't see anything in the news, so that can't be happening." Okay, I get it. We're so dependent on we think that the mainstream news is going to tell us what's the truth, and no, we're absolutely nowhere close to that. Um, so, uh, from what I understand, now we're at the point where, uh, because this last situation played out, they've gathered the last. Well, I mean, there's a lot more information, a lot more things going on out there to break up, basically, in this huge criminal syndicate. Uh, but from what I understand, is they got kind of like a lot more evidence in this last version, and I think they got pretty much all the pieces to the puzzle, so they can kind of figure it out now. And how they're going to lay out this truth to the public, I'm not sure. I know it's going to be exciting and really, really unusual. And I'll kind of give you some heads up on what I see, what might play out. And maybe this might come as a surprise or news to you guys that are watching this. But the Trump team, or the good guys, know the bigger picture. And what most of us are involved in right now is the smaller picture. We think it's about politics. We think it's about bad guys and good guys, and hey, they're extorting people from making money. It's all about money. Follow the money. You guys, it's way, way bigger than that. I'm going to be making videos about this in the future. Probably later this month and forward. But I'm just going to tell you right now, because I suspect that this might come up fairly soon, is the bigger picture is we are being farmed by off-planet and on-planet entities. You can call them ETs if you want, or whatever you want. You can call them demons. I don't know. They have a lot of different names because they have a lot of different faces they use. And what's going to sound crazy, so you guys must have just, you're not going to believe me anyway, but I'm just going to say it, is they inhabit human bodies. So, you look at somebody and you go, hey, that's an extraterrestrial in a human body. People are not going to believe you. And how would someone know that or discern that? Well, one of the main things you noticed is, at least anybody that sort of watches any true crime stories, is all the people that have no conscience at all and no remorse, no empathy. Those are those creatures. And so it's not a coincidence that a lot of those creatures in a human body are in positions of high places all over the world, usually in governments, judges, military, any position of power. And it's not a mistake. They're actually put there on purpose. They're manipulated to be there on purpose. Because what's going on is Earth is going to be breaking free of these entities and this system that they've set up to farm us. We are actually being farmed, okay? And this is going to come out sooner or later. And the reason why I'm telling you this now is because the good guys, the Trump administration, are well aware of this too. And they, along with me, except for their responsible is a lot larger, is how do they break that news to people? So they've done a lot of thinking about this, and a lot of planning about this, and they decided years ago that they were going to do a slow disclosure. In other words, do it in little snippets, like, okay, we've got our own little, space force now, and geez, we might see some, UFOs that are, hey, maybe there's life on other planets. Like this slow drip of waking people up to the bigger story, what's really going on here. Um, that's what they've been kind of doing, and I've been trying to go along with that too. And I was like, yeah, okay, let's just kind of do it slowly, wake people up slowly to what's the bigger picture. Um, but I almost suspect now, because from all the information, like the telepathic downloads that I get, as well as other people I've been following, and people that I know are onto what's going on here too. We've all kind of come to this conclusion, or we all kind of know that we're ahead of schedule, which is making me happy because we're going to be free sooner than I expected. We're breaking out of this system, this paradigm. But also, if we're ahead of schedule, that means disclosure is going to be ahead of schedule. Like, for instance, I'll give you some dates. They were just basic ballpark dates anyway. But as far as a lot of this disclosure, it wasn't going to really start being rolled out till 2023, from what I understand, and full disclosure by 2024. And it was by the end of this next Trump administration. But we're ahead of schedule, and I think the dark side, or I'll just call them like the evil entities that are inhabiting human bodies, well, first of all, they know they've lost this war. They know they're, in a sense, they're getting kicked off the planet. They are, and it's a big picture of what's going on, and we're getting lots of help. So be assured. I mean, I know it sounds crazy and everything, but you're going to know this stuff. You are going to find this stuff out sooner or later. But my point was, I think they're pushing the good guys, going, okay, yeah, you think you want to tell the full story? Well, then, yeah, they keep pressing it. It's like, because they know that if he says the truth, he's probably going to lose half of the people. They're going, oh my God, this guy has gone crazy. Except he has the advantage of showing the proof. But again, there's going to be people that are going to freak right out. It is literally like that Orson Welles, that radio show that he did with, the War of the Worlds. It's like they kind of tested that out back in those days. And sure enough, people just freaked out. They couldn't take it. Well, between that time and now, we've had a lot of, obviously, science fiction movies and stuff to help us get up to speed. But the reality is, yeah, there's just... and the reason why a lot of these entities are not seen, because everybody's like, well, if there's real UFOs or real aliens, they'd show themselves. No, it's exactly the opposite. They are hiding on purpose. So how can you find somebody that's hiding on purpose? They know that they can't expose what's really going on. It's like a wolf in sheep's clothing. You're going to say, oh, if there was a real wolf out there, he'd take off his sheep's clothing. No, he's going to look like a sheep. He's going to keep looking like a sheep, and he's going to hide his identity to the very end. But if you're in a position where you have to expose it, let's say that's a good example. Let's say you have a flock of sheep, and let's say there's 10 wolves out there, and they're all hidden in sheep's clothing. If you actually had to, push comes to shove, go, okay, listen, you want proof? And then you pulled off that sheep's wool, and you see, that's a wolf. I've been telling you about that all along. Yeah, people are gonna freak. It's like, oh my God, well, is there more? Yeah, there's one over there too. They pull it off. It's like you're gonna create a panic. So that's why the best way to do that is subtly. So be prepared, because there might be some strange reveals coming up really soon, because like I said, we're actually ahead of schedule. The ahead of schedule thing is good, by the way, because that means we're breaking free sooner out of this thing. And one of the bigger things to break free from is the mainstream media, because they have most of that controlled right now. So that's going to be torn down fairly quick. And then, believe me, once that's dismantled and gone, everybody's like, oh wow, so that's what's been going on all this time. Yeah, that's what's coming. And it might come sooner than I expected. So expect some possible crazy things coming up the next 2 weeks. But if not, this year, absolutely, this there'll be a lot more people talking about this topic. So, okay, that's my little quick sort of update for now, and I'll talk to you guys later this week, maybe or early next week. Okay.